we're live. No intro today.
No intro.
Nah.
Who needs an intro?
We're trying something new where it's called less professional, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, in fact, let us know if you can hear us. We would like to know if we are even audible.
Can you hear us? Papa, can you hear me?
Caleb, can you hear me? Let us know. So how's everyone doing? Yeah, we're here tonight because producer Scott, unfortunately, had to work late.
He had a work engagement he could not escape from at the last minute, so we don't have all our bells and whistles. We just have our charming personalities.
You got all the dings and the bats. You just got no bells and whistles.
No bells. No.
Awesome. Okay, Laura says that you can hear us, so thank you for that.
Oh, thank God.
That's good.
Because we had no backup plan if you can't.
Nope.
Like, we were just going to have to hold up signs of everything we were going to say.
Yep.
For the
Let's
episode.
check that off. Sound.
Lots of mining.
Check.
I'm going to put a check mark next to that. So tonight's a very special episode of The Cult Show. It's Stephen King Appreciation Night.
Yay!
So Uncle Stevie just had his birthday earlier this week, and we did something unprecedented, which is got Neil to read a book. He doesn't read books per se, but he did for this challenge. It was actually his idea to read a Stephen King book. We all read different books, and then we're going to talk about them, and we watched the corresponding movie for said book. It's pretty,
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So, happy birthday, Uncle Stevie.
Happy
Absolutely.
birthday.
For sure.
But before we get to that,
Yes.
what you drinking?
What you drinking? Producer Scott's checking in on us to see.
I know. God, not here, but still yelling.
Is that
at
better,
us.
Scott? Is that better? Does it sound better? Not too loud?
He's probably
Thank you.
talking to your fucking microphones.
No, he said it was too loud.
Oh.
Thank you, Papa Scott. I'm
Papa
drinking.
Smurf.
I'm drinking water.
Neil is drinking
What? I'm
water.
hydrating today.
It's good for you.
Just
Water.
hydrating. Just
Good for
hydrating.
you.
I've offered to share my non-alcoholic but exciting beverages with him, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm starting out with a lightly brewed sparkling tea that is cherry cacao flavored.
Cherry cacao. Cacao.
It's
I feel like you need to do finger guns when you say cacao.
And it's delicious.
Nice.
And you have a
I've
coffee
got
mug.
in a Cult Show mug.
Oh,
I got a Sam Adams
but you guys, what if
that
I
Michael brought. Thank you, Michael.
Yay!
what if I don't have a Cult Show mug?
Then you go to the cultshow.com/store.
There you go.
Yay!
And you
Good
can
job.
get all your needs. Ware, cups,
Housewares.
Yep.
pillows.
Yep.
We got it all.
Yep.
Everything you need.
One-stop shopping.
Hats.
All the refrigerators you can't buy at Costco.
Do we have a mouse pad? That'd be funny because it's like, who has a mouse pad anymore?
When the
don't know.
Sears catalog stopped being sent out, we filled that vacuum.
So you're welcome and cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Happy Friday.
Ching ching. Delicious.
Nothing but professionalism on this set.
Yep.
All right. Caleb, who's with us this evening?
I'm still going through the list.
Okay.
Let me make sure I've got everyone, because God forbid I forget somebody.
People get mad.
Okay, so far in the studio audience, we've got the Reverend Michael B.
Michael?
That one's easy. He's sitting right
See,
there.
I'm so used to pointing forward.
Yeah.
But now you're over
he's
here.
over there.
Don't let it go to your head, Caleb.
You don't get to stay here.
We've also got Laura.
Yay, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. We have, and thank you, by the way, Laura, for buying a pillow. We'll get that picture up. Not today.
Next week.
Oh, did she share it?
We'll
She
get
did.
to that.
Oh, good.
We'll get
I was
to
gonna
that.
say, isn't it weird to expose what people bought, but if she wants to share her item,
Yeah. We've got Mark Vision's Truth.
he's here.
Thank you
Yay.
for being here.
Thank you for being a friend.
We've got Mindy. Didn't forget you.
Mindy.
No. Always
Let's
from
see. I
Mindy.
also see TM.
What's up, TM? Welcome.
TM. And producer Scott. I don't know. Are you working? What's going on? And do I see anyone else? No.
But people might pop in.
But say hi.
Say hi, or maybe you're watching us later. That's fine too. Or you're listening to us via podcast. We appreciate all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Scott keeps telling me less mics, and there is no red light, Scott. Scott. There's no red light. I'll move it down a little more. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
What's going on, guys? What'd you do? We haven't seen each other in 2 weeks, really. So.
Yeah, I've been very busy. It's been a really busy 2 weeks. Been busy with the stuff for this show, first of all, because this was kind of had to read a book
daddy.
And everything. Genre junkie stuff, doing that. And then, let's put all of that aside, because I haven't really had a lot of time to watch a lot of things. But I got to do something really cool that I haven't even gotten to tell you guys about yet.
Okay.
Very, very randomly, Emma's in town for a wedding, so that's not super random. But she's one of my co-hosts from Spooky Summer Party. And through a connection she has, we got invited, she and I, to attend press night for Spooky Slumber Party at the legendary, the iconic, the goddess of San Francisco, Peaches Christ, at her haunt, The Vault, which is in the SF Mint. She has one every year, but she didn't do one last year. You do have to be vaccinated, and you have to wear a mask the whole time to go to the haunt. Her haunts are famous. This year it is called Immortal Reckoning. If you don't know who Peaches Christ is, shame on you. She is an amazing drag queen, absolute horror fanatic, our type of gal. And she does this amazing haunt every year, and it's a theatrical experience, as well as people like jumping out and scaring the bejesus out of you. And every year it's like a different story and everything. And we got to go, and we got to go on press night and with some other like pressy people and experience the haunt. You do it in small groups. It's a walkthrough experience. Normally, when you go, you can choose if you want to be like super involved, and you wear like a necklace that like glows in the dark, and so people know they can like touch you and like interact with you. Or if you don't want people to touch you, which is totally fine, you don't wear the necklace. But for the press people, they didn't really give us a choice. They're like, you will be touched, and you are interacting. So, which is fine. So it is an over 21 experience because there are adult situations, swearing, and nudity.
Okay.
I like both of those.
Oh, you like all those things.
Huge fan.
Male and female nudity. So love that, equal opportunity. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, because if you can get to San Francisco, you absolutely need to do this. I said on Spooky Summer Party, our full review's coming next episode, I am angry. I have never been until now, but I thought I didn't like walk-through haunts because I had really bad experiences, but I just needed to go to one that wasn't shitty.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was so fun, and I screamed until I basically had no voice, and I also laughed a ton. And we were like sweaty little gremlins when we came out. And we were also covered in salt, and we had to go down a slide. So,
right.
Covered in salt and a slide.
Yep.
I like it.
And a little bit of fake blood, too.
Okay.
Wow. That sounds exciting.
That sounds really exciting.
It was a religious experience.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Is it my turn?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
All right. So what have I been doing? So I've been reading, I just started yesterday, Prince Lestat by Anne Rice, which I've never read before.
Oh, because you haven't gotten that far in the series yet?
Correct. Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. So this is one of my library books that I told you about on Genre Junkies. So that's my last one, and when I finish that, I can go back again and get some more. It's overdue, by the way. But Sonoma County doesn't have late fees. Yay. Let's see. I went to a screening of the Many Saints of Newark, which is the prequel to The Sopranos.
Yes.
I think if you're a fan of The Sopranos, you will enjoy it.
Are you a fan?
Very much. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. If not, it's probably not going to make very much sense to you. So.
Because it's like his son plays his role, right?
Yes, James Gandolfini's son plays him at like 17 or 18 years old.
Damn, that's so cool.
So I enjoyed it personally, but I mean, I've watched the entire series. I liked the series, and it was really fun seeing, you know, some of these characters as a younger version of themselves. So, very nice. I watched a documentary, Count Me In, on Netflix. It's about drumming, which is...
You like drumming?
I'm a big fan. You know,
Producer Scott likes drumming too.
I have a drum set at home, and you know what I figured out? See, we all have Apple Watches.
Yeah, I just don't wear mine.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right? We're all about, like, you know, sometimes closing those exercise rings.
Every day.
Do you know what helps close your exercise ring?
Drumming.
Drumming.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. It is.
Yeah.
It's very bodily.
Yeah.
Bodily.
And I'm not saying I'm good by any means, but,
You're doing it.
you know, 2 15-minute episodes get you your 30-minute exercise for the day.
Wow.
Dang.
Okay.
Just saying.
Good to know.
You love to
Drumming.
hear it.
The drumming diet.
There you go. We start a whole
with
new
Caleb.
exercise cult.
Fuck the Peloton.
We'll have, like, skinny arms, but, you know, big middles, and
See what happens.
you know,
That's exciting.
yeah.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's it? Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
I'm done.
That's great.
Good job. Good job.
What about you?
This week, let's see, I watched all 3 films that we're talking about tonight.
You overachiever.
I know,
Check you
overachieving. Because I wanted to be able to, just be able to talk about them. I figure it helps the other person if there's someone else that can help chime in a little, perhaps, on your film. You know?
Well,
So-
I'm just going to ask you questions. Get
okay.
some answers.
Fair enough. Creep Show is back on Shudder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched the first half of the episode. It was kind of cool because it had a couple throwbacks to the movie. Like it actually mentioned they had a whiskey, and it was like Pappy Grantham's whiskey or something, and Nathan Grantham from the first episode.
Oh my God!
Father's
Yeah.
Day, and then they had the ashtray at one point also in there.
Nice.
So I was like, that's really cool.
That's hella cool.
That made me happy to see that because I've been kind of lukewarm on the whole thing so far, but I like when they throw in things for us super fans.
Right.
Fan
and-
service.
Yeah. Let's see. It is now. We have passed the autumnal equinox.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I am very excited for that.
Yeah.
Because I have survived yet another spring and summer.
Yes.
So now I get to relax, and this is my time.
It's just the time.
My time to shine.
We are in our high holy season.
We are here. So do code oranges go away now at this point? Like you're done?
I mean, I
Okay.
think so because I think it's pretty much like we can expect everything's going to be pretty much out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I won't keep calling you every day. Code orange.
I
Code orange.
don't mind the calls.
I see it. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all around me.
It's closing in.
Let's see. And then anything else this week? There was one little thing I did on Wednesday,
Oh, what was that?
which was I had a little surgery on my shoulder.
You were attacked by a reebob, weren't you?
I got a reebob and I got a bear all in the same
Oh,
time. actually.
darn it.
Yeah, they were fighting.
They were trying to tear you in two like a Christmas cracker.
Yeah, they're going for one of those, I'll take this and you take the other and see what happens. But anyway, I
The
had some,
reebob one.
Yeah, I had a little reconstruction up here because I had some stuff falling apart and tearing, so I had to, have it dealt with finally.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday I got to do that, which was fun. There was many nurses who I think were okay with me by the time I left because, as you know me, I like to give people a hard time sometimes.
Hadn't noticed.
So, but there was one, she was trying to shave me up here. I don't have much hair in my area and my shoulder, thank goodness, but she was going like really far down just in case they have to do something else. And then she was just like, "Rah, rah," and she's like, man, your hair is like really close to your chest. It's like, I'm having a hard time. And so then people will come in and go like, so how you guys doing? As they're getting me all stabbed and geared up. And I'm like, I'm fine, but apparently I have really weird body hair now, so thanks, kind of thing. And the nurse was like, no, I didn't really mean that. I meant that.
You're like, oh my God, I'm
So-
kidding.
And when the anesthetician guy came in to finally do the neck shot to numb my arm, he was asking, how's it going? And I was just like, she doesn't like my body hair. So she was just like, literally, she was just like shaking her head by the end. So it was pretty funny.
We should have sent
But-
a note
You should
pinned
have
to your
sent
shirt
it
that's
to
like,
him,
just ignore him.
Ignore. If you guys, by the way, have not gotten a shot in your neck for 8 minutes to numb your arm, I don't know that I necessarily recommend it, but it is an experience.
8 minutes?
I'm estimating because he's in there and they go through and he makes you watch a screen with a needle and he's like, so here's what I'm doing here, and I was like, have my eyes closed, so I did not want to see it. And he's like, no, you should really look. And I was like, dude,
Why should I really look?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I feel you in there. I don't need to watch it also. But yeah, because
No, but really.
yeah, really. But he's like, because he's like when they would hit certain things, like your chest would, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Like
nerve,
spasm
kick
or-
something
yeah.
out or whatever.
Wow.
Like, whoa, okay, so that's enough. Finish.
Yikes.
Anyway, it was fun.
You brave little toaster.
Thank you.
You went through all that.
I went through that just so I could not.
So basically what Neil is saying is if you see him in the street, slap him on his left side.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll appreciate that.
Yeah, he'll like you.
Thank you very much. All right. Other than that, so yeah, as Caleb mentioned, Laura, we saw the picture of your pillow, and we will get that displayed next week when we're back, because we just don't have the ability to do that right now. So anyone else who happens to have any merchandise they purchase from our shop, if you want to take a picture with yourself with it, that'd be great. We'd love to show it. And your smiley, happy faces whilst donning a mug.
Like, tag us, DM us, email us.
Email, all those things. Yep.
Yeah.
Like Mark Vision's Truth, we know you got a mug, Mark. We'd love to see you drinking out of it. What do you drink out of your Mark mug? Mark mug? You drink out of your mug, Mark?
Mug.
Hey, I'm still high. Give me a break.
Mugwort?
I'm always high, so.
Stay high.
And then, we got a subscriber.
Oh, let me see here. Where's that? Oh, this is a cool name. These are cool people. The Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast.
That is a good name.
Yes.
Of course, American Werewolf in London
Yes, we
reference
all like
there.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
very nice.
Appreciate that. And thank
right.
you. From our podcast to your podcast, thank you.
All right. So, it is Mr. Stephen King's birthday this past week.
Yep.
We celebrate him tonight.
Yep.
And we are starting with Sandra because she's a professional and she will teach us how to critique a book.
You know, Caleb's really good.
Actually,
with
Caleb's really
books,
good
too.
also, yes.
I'm good when questions are presented to me, though.
Yeah. Well, I can question you about your book if
Okay,
you'd like.
sounds good.
Okay,
All right,
I will do that.
Let's do that.
So for mine, I chose a novel I hadn't read since I was in middle school, which is Salem's Lot. And I hadn't seen the movie in quite some time either. It's a long movie because it was made for TV. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So Salem's Lot, if you're not familiar, we're probably going to kind of spoil these. So, just kind of know that. A writer moves back to the small New England town where he spent some time as a kid, some really formative time in his life, and he finds that a vampire has moved in. So this book was Uncle Stevie's second published novel in 1975, and the movie is a made-for-TV adaptation by the lovely Tobe Hooper, so it's like two Tobe Hoopers in a row. For the time and made for TV, actually pretty good when you consider that.
Probably, yeah.
So David Soul plays Ben, our lead character, the writer. Have you read Salem's Lot?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
He was in the Starsky and Hutch TV show.
Yes, he was.
Which I've never seen, but I know it's a buddy cop thing. I saw the really bad movie.
Oh, right,
with
yeah.
Ben Stiller and
Yeah.
Owen Wilson.
And there's lots of other character actors that you kind of recognize from the day that are in it. And then, of course, Tobe Hooper. And it's actually a fairly faithful adaptation, kind of having the two back to back. It's not amazing, but it's pretty accurate. And a lot of the dialogue is actually carbon copy the same. Sorry, this is weird. We don't usually sit like this.
I know.
Yeah.
This is you can tell that.
Right? I don't usually see this side of your
Of us.
your guys' head.
We usually just look at you.
He's marveling at my profile.
I-
My large nose.
I
Did you try a
always
sip of
marvel
it?
at
Did you
you.
Yeah,
like
it's
it?
very good.
It's very good. I think what really was my biggest, I don't even want to say gripe, but the thing that stands out the most for me, this book versus this movie, is in the movie, even though it's long, Fred Willard's in it, which is great, plays an adulterous real estate agent. They do that thing where they combine characters, which is pretty common in adaptations. But it goes kind of beyond that. It's almost like, for me, the movie characters were so flat compared to the book characters. I was super invested in the book characters. The book has a lot of heart. And I feel like the heart was kind of missing in the film. Like, it wasn't as, I don't know, it didn't move me. It didn't, like, I wasn't emotionally invested. Like, and especially, I think that's to the detriment of having just read the book, like, so, like, recently. There's also a lot of weird little creepiness in the book that they probably couldn't find a way to translate to film. Like, there's a lot of people's inner dialogue, like when they get kind of like mesmerized by the vampires, where they say and think like really creepy shit. And it's like, it's really unsettling to read. Obviously, it just isn't going to translate to film. Let's see, let me get to my notes here. Yeah, so Ben falls in love with Susan, and it's pretty quick in the book. Like, you know, it's a little insta-lovey, but, you know, in the movie it's like instant.
Yeah, it's right then.
Yeah. And again, I get, nobody, please, nobody explain to me why. I get why. I get that this is a book versus a TV show adaptation, but, you know, things just have to move so fast. So in the book, like, there's this incredible house that the bad guys move into called the Marston House, and the Marston House has this whole history, and they kind of gloss over it in the book, and Ben kind of talks about it, but it's like really wooden when he's like saying how this house shaped him, and he does a lot of research on the house because he's kind of writing like a book about it, and he had like a really spooky experience there as a kid. There's Jimmy the doctor, Matt the teacher, Susan, of course, Mark the boy. They're all like very vibrant in the book, and just you get super invested in them, and you don't get as invested in the movie. At least I didn't. It was just a little more flat, and especially the character of Father Callahan, who I don't want to spoil anything, but he becomes a reoccurring character in other Stephen King books, and it's really cool when he pops up. So I don't want to say where he pops up if you don't know. But in the book, I really loved his crisis of faith his character goes through, because I like that arc for characters in books and movies, like in The Exorcist too. And he also has this whole thing about like the nature of good and evil, and he's very interesting. And in the movie, he's just very meh. Like, he's just very...
Like, you don't even, if I remember correctly, you don't even really see him until...
It's very small.
Yeah.
His role is majorly, like, diminished.
Yeah, it's pretty little.
In the film. The character of Straker, who's, he's the Guillermo.
The familiar.
The Gizmo.
Yep, the Gizmo.
He's, what we do in the shadows, if you know, you know. In the book, he's kind of, has a little bit of, like, effeminate sort of mannerisms and features. He's very erudite, very worldly. He's very charismatic. Like, the women are kind of like drawn to him and like attracted to him. And like, there's something about like, he's bald and the women all love his bald head. And he does a whole bunch of really creepy stuff in the book, because he's more than just a familiar. He's almost like the priest, like Barlow's like priesty guy. And again, a great character actor whose name I can't remember plays him in the film, who's been in a million things, but yeah, that charisma and that like, why am I so attracted to him? I don't know why, but I am. Like, that doesn't bleed over.
It's not there.
It's not there. It's not there at all.
No, he's just a very arrogant person in the movie.
Right.
He's kind of an asshole. That's kind of a bummer. Barlow is a pretty big change, too. So, of course, Barlow is the vampire.
Yes.
He's our big vamp, our big vampy vamp. And in the movie, he looks pretty cool. They give him like a Nosferatu look.
Very much.
And he's got the, you know, the shiny head and the ears and the little toothers and and that's nice. But in the book, he has a lot of dialogue. He talks a lot. He monologues. He taunts our protagonists. He terrorizes them. Of course, he has probably my favorite scene in the book is this exchange that he has with Father Callahan when he's questioning his faith. and it's like, it's really like, ooh, like what's gonna happen? It's like a really exciting time in the book. Mark is being kind of used as a bargaining chip for Father Callahan has to like prove his faith. And just none of that came through.
No, a very quick little scene in the kitchen.
Yeah, and in the book, it's not a super long scene, but it's a very poignant scene. Barlow is also human-looking in the book.
Yeah.
Kind of has that classic like high forehead, long hair, more of your Nandor, if you will. Which, I mean, it makes sense because, like, Barlow and Straker, they travel all over and they do their, like, antique dealing business.
Right.
And they do their vampirism business. It's like a side hustle. Like, instead of driving for Uber, they do vampire shit.
Yeah.
And, like, of course, that could all just be, like, a front and, you know, and Barlow's not really actually doing anything. But it kind of makes more sense that it's, like, for them to have been as successful and worldly as they are, I don't think it's because Barlow's a Nos. Well, Nosferatu man.
Okay.
Well, all he does in the movie is squeal and make little high pitch.
Like keening noises.
Yeah.
Oh, in the movie, I actually did like the way the vampires look. They have like kind of glowy eyes to them. And of course, everybody's favorite is children floating outside second-story windows.
Yes.
That shit is haunting, especially if you see it when you're young.
Yeah.
That's for a lot of people. That's one of those like, oh Jesus, I was traumatized.
Yep.
You know, he's like, let me in.
I remember seeing that on TV, and that was the one image that took away with me.
Yes.
You know, from years, not until seeing it until like on home video many years later was I remember that scene for sure. That was a great scene.
Yeah. And they do their little hypnotic thing. So I know Caleb's always like, get out of the house, you know, trying to like tell people. But it actually makes sense.
But they solve that problem.
Yeah, and it makes sense in like vampire things that they're putting their vampire mojo on you.
Right.
And you're powerless against their thrall. And you still have to invite them in. There's a lot of the kind of traditional, what we think of like the traditional vampire rules. But yeah, I mean, I think you just kind of lose something when you don't have all of that inner monologue, that creepy stuff that takes place inside people's heads. You know, this is an early book. This is kind of, I think, the second book, so it kind of really established like small New England towns and the evil that men do, you know, kind of as like a Stephen King trope, you know, because like and
having it take over the entire town.
Yeah, because
like,
it's
rather quickly.
It's not so much that like everybody in small New England towns are inherently evil, but behind these kind of pristine facades, there's a lot of ugliness going around. People cheating on their spouses, people abusing their children, substance abuse, but everybody tries to play it off like, no, we're just simple New England folk.
Right,
and Stephen King just really beautiful depictions of, you know, small towns might look all nice and squeaky, but there's a lot of shady stuff going on behind. And that's where a lot of your real evil is. And I don't know that that's ever going to fully translate in a film, at least like in the early films. You know, I don't know if that translates as well. The other thing that I would be remiss to not mention is, again, this book was written in 1975. Somebody that reads a lot of books, and I've read a lot of books by Uncle Stevie that are old, and a lot of other books by people that are old. There is some atrocious slurs in this book. Like, they make you cringe. Like I did. I physically, like, you know, like you do like one of those, especially towards gay people. But it was a different time, and I get that. Doesn't mean I have to like it. Doesn't mean I have to be comfortable with it and like, oh, it's okay, it was 1975, woo! Like, no, I don't like it.
Yeah, well,
don't.
You know, I don't think that Stephen King's ever really shied away from that, though. You know, that's one thing that he's always kind of seemed kind of liberal with.
Well, and it's colloquial, the way people speak and stuff, and of their time and era and place. But I would say, you know, if you're somebody that's not read a lot of older books, you know, just know that going in, that you might hear some stuff that you're like, damn, I didn't know it was like that, though. Like, just right there in black and white print in a book.
Right. Well, I mean, like, remember 2 weeks ago, I was telling you that I read the third book in the...
Tintin?
No, the Mercedes Killer.
Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah, but
yes.
the third one was End of the Watch?
End of Watch.
End of Watch, yeah. And he was dropping the N-word in that one.
But that's at least, that's a bad guy.
No, I understand. I'm just saying. I
it.
just think that Stephen King just kind of, he uses it as he feels it should be used by the person speaking it.
Right. And
right or wrong, that's just something he does.
And like I said, I promise I'm not defending the use of it, but at least it's not like the hero saying it.
Well,
like,
right.
Yeah, because that would be a problem, because then he wouldn't be the hero anymore, would he? Detective Hodges using that kind of language.
Do you know what I do have a bigger, specifically in this book, though?
What?
With, like, vampires?
Please.
A vampire eats, drinks your blood.
It does.
And then you turn into a vampire.
Sometimes.
And then, no, in this book, they do. You get drunk on, you get turned.
You get bit, yeah.
And then those people drink on others, and they get turned.
Yes.
You're going to run out of food, like, really fast if you keep doing that. And that's what I love about Anne Rice, and how there's actually, like, they almost have, like, intercourse in a way of, you drink their blood, and then they drink your blood, and then you keep swapping it back and forth.
We call that the little drink. The little drink.
No, not the little drink. No, but when they're turning a vampire, the vampire drains you and then tells you to drain them, and then they keep swapping their blood back and forth.
Yes.
And so it's not, so it's intentional. You're not just feeding and get turned.
Yeah.
And I like that, because
it's a sexy experience.
I feel like in this way, the entire world is going to very quickly become all vampires, and then what?
Well, yes, I totally see what you mean. I think that kind of chaos and that kind of spreading the disease, the pestilence, if you will, I think that's kind of a part of their game. Like, they come to, like, these areas and they just kind of overtake it with their disease.
It just seems a little short-sighted on their part. Now, granted, these vampires are a little more, like, sort of beastie. They're sort of, like, not thinking. They're not, whereas, Anne Rice's, they're thinkers, they're artists.
They feel. They feel so deeply.
So maybe these vampires are easier to kill than...
Part of what it makes me think of is in this kind of Stephen King mythos, in the Dark Tower series, where vampires are revisited.
Yes.
They are...
a hierarchy.
There's a hierarchy. There's 3 types, and they're agents of the Crimson King.
That's right.
All hail the Crimson King.
That's right.
And it kind of explains... it kind of, because they're part of, like, this more evil network, it kind of is like, that's like what they like to do, is they kind of like to take over and ruin things and people. And
Barlow was one of the...
He's a type 1.
The top, right?
Yeah. He's one of the higher echelons. So, overall, I don't have a huge emotional attachment to the movie of Salem's Lot. I find it enjoyable. I love Tobe Hooper. Great soundtrack. The movie has actually a really great soundtrack. Found the acting, even though there are people who are good actors. Well, I don't know about Starsky Guy. I wasn't impressed, and I've never seen him in anything else. But they're they come across a little scenery chewing, a little over the top.
Melodramatic.
It was,
a little melodramatic. But it's still a fun time. And it's, again, like, I watched it, with a little break in between, because it's a mini, little 2-parter thing. It's about 3 hours all told. I would definitely recommend read the book and then see the movie, because I think the book was very satisfying.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's a good book.
Can I say one thing about the film?
Say as many things.
And that is, one thing that reminded me a bit of Tobe Hooper was when you finally see Susan, played by Bonnie Bedelia, walking around the interior of the house towards the end.
Yes.
And it's almost like there's a bunch of feathers Kind of like a big feather room downstairs. You know, the entire living room. Almost like Toby Hooper carried a little chainsaw into that house.
And you know what? I'm glad he
You know,
did.
and a lot of antlers, a lot of animal
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah, they're in a rural
So-
area.
Yeah.
Not Texas though. A little change of pace.
Yep.
No, and I appreciate it. It's better for. It's better
It's
for
better
them.
for it, absolutely.
And as far as like, I do love Toby Hooper. It's not going to be like one of my favorite
right.
of his
No.
works, but I'm happy that we have it in his canon
Yes.
to go back and revisit. And, I'm sure blah, 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 budget, blah, blah, time, blah, blah. Yes, I know. There is another adaptation of this that I did not have time to watch. Did you guys ever seen it?
No.
It's like from, I think it's 2014. It's got Rob Lowe in it. Rob Lowe's cool.
I like Rob Lowe.
He plays the
Interesting.
lead Ben in this, and I honestly, I don't know if it's like easy to find or not, but I didn't see a lot of reviews and stuff on it. So I don't know if it was just kind of sweeping under the rug,
Right.
Aren't they filming another one or a
They
new one?
are. There is talks of a new Salem's Lot, which has the potential to be cool.
I think if
And-
you look online right now, there's talks of doing everything again.
Yeah,
Everything.
Everything's
We're in a
done.
nostalgia boom
Yeah.
for sure.
You got me. I thought you were telling me to look.
I know what you did last summer. One of those coming up.
Yeah, new TV show, which
Yeah.
at least it's like a TV show for that property, which I love that movie and the book. Then it's kind of like, okay, that's a little something different,
Right, I guess.
because you put it in episodic and you can kind of stretch it out and do some different character stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how necessary it is, but it could be entertaining. But for the Salem's Lot one, I would definitely say read the book in preparation for this film that may or may not be happening. I love vampires. I love vampires.
Yeah. I
They're
mean,
always a good time.
vampires are great. I have not read this book, but I have heard that it is an exceptional, wonderful book.
It is.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the
And it's
movie,
his second
yeah.
book. I mean,
It's his second book, man.
yeah.
That's crazy for it to be so good for a second book. I mean, I think wasn't it like when he wrote Carrie, I think he'd written technically 4 novels, but that was like the first published one.
Maybe,
but
yeah.
I mean, still, for an early novel from a writer, I think it's more than exceptional in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has some of that stuff that we really like from Uncle Stevie, most of us fans, where there's the nostalgia, the childhood, like it touches on a little bit of that and kind of the things of your memory and facing some demons. I do also appreciate, I think they touched on it a little bit in the book, in the movie, which I appreciate, but Susan is a pretty liberated woman for like the 70s. She's kind of in that wave of feminism. And there's some discourse with her, especially her mother in the book, which is like really interesting, which was kind of cool because, again, as a period piece, essentially, like,
Yeah.
but again, I know there's not time. Yeah. There's not time. There's not energy. There's not all the things. Oh my God, you're so sweet. To put into fleshing out every character. And yeah, and what's her name who played Susan in the movie?
Bonnie
Bedelia.
Bedelia.
And she's in Die Hard.
She's in Die Hard.
Yeah. Also the Needful Things.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of these actors are highly recognizable. They're probably a little underutilized by the melodrama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a product of its time. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I think that's the best that,
Yep.
Definitely
that was the
read
standard
it.
of acting for the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially
we look at it now
when you
and
do a
I go like,
television
look at his
role.
hair, it's so funny, or look at their clothes, they're so funny.
Oh,
But,
Ben's hair is funny too.
but at the time, I'm sure that was stylish.
He was a dish, was he not? They were like, he was probably on the cover of every TV guide from like 1970 onward.
TV Guide and Guns and Ammo and whatever other manly magazines, I'm sure.
Wow.
Car and
Town and country,
Driver.
Reader's Digest.
homes and gardens. There's like him just with some shears,
Yeah.
with his like mop of hair.
Did we mention the Sears catalog?
Oh, you know he was on a Sears catalog.
holding a Tupperware.
Be like flipping a pancake. Or maybe he'd be like building a fridge or something. Something manly.
An icebox.
Get me a beer, it's in the icebox, would you?
Some assembly are required.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, Mark Vision's Truth joined us. He got busy at work. But
Mark Vision's Truth was already here.
I mean, Pismo Mark
I was going to say,
just joined us. He got busy at work, so
who is
thank
this
you.
imposter that was the first Mark Vision strip?
There's 2 of them.
He's a
Doppelganger.
What is
Sorry. Too many marks.
what is it in Loki? What is it?
What is what?
When you're a copy.
A variant.
A variant. It's a variant. Yeah, that's it. That's about all I got. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No, I think it was very well
You
covered.
did a very, very, very good job.
Yes.
Who wants to follow that?
I don't know. Me, Caleb,
Should
you.
we paper, rock, scissors for it? No, I'll go. It's fine.
I think you should
I'll go,
battle for it.
I'll go.
I'll go.
Thumb wrestle.
I'll go. I just forgot
Oh,
to
thumb
look up
wrestling
the,
stresses me out.
Okay, don't do it then.
Why does it stress you out?
My thumb gets like all like quivery, like.
I
At least
forgot
I've
and
got
I can't
it.
read that. What
At least I've got a hell of a nail on it.
What year is that?
Well, this
published?
book came out in 2013.
2013. Okay, so for my pick, I did Dr. Sleep, and I even brought my book in. So
Can I
as
smell it?
the wonderful Sandra just said, that was published in 2013. The movie came out in 2019. And I surprisingly saw the movie first and then read the book.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if that is why I liked the movie so much, even though they are very different.
There's a lot of differences.
Very different.
You want to see it? Yeah. It doesn't have like intense book smell, but
It's because I bought it in 2019, so it's a couple years old.
well, even new books can
It's
have
been
a
sitting
really
on a
good
shelf.
smell.
It's probably got like,
Doesn't
some,
have that- that-
kitchen,
It doesn't grab you.
kitchen
It doesn't
food
grab you.
grease smell to it, and
Which I did yours? I didn't bring mine.
Anyway, I
It's not a good year,
was
not a good vintage.
I was very surprised. Like, I thought this movie would do so well, and was
Yeah.
kind of shocked because, like, it had already come out, and that was like a huge thing. And I thought, like, everybody loved The Shining so much. Like, I swore that everyone would go out and see this movie, and it bombed. I mean, it lost money. I mean, a $40 million budget, and I think it grossed like $35 million or something like
Dang.
that. So, if you've seen it, please put it in chat, because I'd love to know if you did at least see the movie.
I saw it.
I did too, and I read the book.
I smelled it.
So, right off the
now.
bat, the novel is the sequel to Stephen King's The Shining, and then Kubrick had his little movie, and we're not going to get into how we feel about it,
Not
but
huge
we're not
fans.
huge fans. We respect it,
Yes.
but they're vastly different. The novel, The Shining, is about a father dealing with sobriety and isolation, and Kubrick kind of just tried to make it scary. And
On a different track.
my personal, sorry, Scott would probably be having
He
a fit 'cause
flinched somewhere. He's like,
I'm not used to having a lapel mic. Whereas the movie was just sort of about a man going insane, and
where's your mic?
I don't know.
I think it flipped out. There you go. You really aren't used to it.
No.
Henry's trying to eat it.
Sorry, guys. Okay. Lost my train.
Yeah,
of
so
thought.
Kubrick's about a guy flipping out.
Right. So Mike Flanagan directed this movie.
Hallowed be thy name, Mike Flanagan.
We kind of love this guy here, right?
So far, so good, yeah.
Flanny.
I mean, yeah, he's done some
Flanny.
really good things.
I usually don't like my flan, but I'll take my flan again.
So he actually had to go to Stephen King and convince him.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we're going to make this movie, but, we know there are two sides to this coin. There are the people that love the novel, and there are the people that love the movie, But for this movie that we're going to make, we're kind of going to have to combine the two. And Stephen King, like, bless his soul, hallowed be his name.
Also,
said, all right.
He actually did like one of these like.
Cool. I'll do it. You know, yeah. Testicles,
testicles,
pocket watch,
all the way
whatever.
down.
Spectacles, testicles.
Yeah, you can tell I'm not religious.
Stephen King basically was able to finally kind of put a little closure, I think, on the whole Shining thing by letting him wrap it up.
Yeah.
I think so.
The way they do with this.
I think so. And if you even look at his, what's it called, a postword? His final
epilogue?
thoughts, his epilogue. No, Stephen King's note. He even says...
Author's note.
There you go, the author's note. He says...
You want me to read it?
Hold on, let me get... No, I just need to get to the part. Okay. Plus, of course, there was Stanley Kubrick's movie, which many seem to remember, for reasons I have never quite understood, as one of the scariest films they have ever seen. And he disagrees with that because, I don't think it's very scary. It's...
saying something scary with horror fans gets very subjective because we don't always have to be scared by it.
True.
But, same thing. I know what we kind of said, we're not going to get into it. It doesn't grab us the way it does some people, though Neil did dress as the carpet that one time, which was really exciting. I would like to know, in your opinion,
Yes.
do you feel like the movie was a good marriage of the Kubrick
I do.
Into the franchise?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think he did a very good job taking both. And, as you said, characters get combined, consolidated, which they definitely do.
Yes.
The movie had a lot more heroes die than the book does.
Yeah. Interesting choice.
Yeah, because the book only has, none of the heroes die.
Yeah.
The little boy does, but he's not really a hero.
Not like our main people in it.
Deanie and her son does. Yeah. But again, and that's so in the novel, the Dan Torrance, who is all grown up now, he starts out in his 30s and by the end he's in his 40s, but he is an alcoholic, a raging alcoholic.
Just like his dad.
And he wakes up one morning next to a woman that, they've hooked up. He realizes that all of his money is gone because they bought in Coke, and he has no recollection of this whatsoever. And as he's walking out the door, her little toddler comes in wearing and the way King describes it, it's like this soggy diaper, and it like he's just been in it for hours, And the kid says, "Candy?" Going for the Coke. And so he, but this is his so he ends up stealing money from Deanie because he has no money now because he blew it all on Coke. Yeah. And this is his rock bottom. This is his low point. He does drink a few more times after this, but this memory haunts him in the novel. And in the movie, I feel like it's kind of glossed over a lot.
Right.
Like it happens, but he's not traumatized by it as he is in the novel.
I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, because in both the books, Dr. Sleep and The Shining, sobriety is a huge character. It's like a character. It's like its own thing. Right. And, kind of like Danny going through that with that, Dan, going through that with the little boy, it's kind of like, look how addiction destroyed my childhood, and now I'm part and parcel in another child's life being destroyed.
And Deanie actually becomes sort of like the harbinger of like what's to come, the Jacob Marley, if you will, saying like,
be visited by fruits.
Right, no, but it's true. Like he warns him, beware of the hat, and the hat is Rose the Hat, played wonderfully by Jessica Ferguson. Rebecca, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Also good.
They're both
right.
Both Fergusons are great.
just wonderfully though.
Yeah, I like the movie too.
Yeah.
I think it's a great movie.
But I mean,
Yeah.
even though they're totally different and have completely different vibes, in the movie you go back to the Overlook Hotel, but in the book, the Overlook is gone.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's blown up.
And that's like not like the point of it, but it's like, again, I think to do that little marriage, they kind of had to find a way.
Right.
Yeah.
But what the book does that's really cool is that the True Knot, which is Rose the Hat's, traveling group of
Miscreants.
RV enthusiasts,
Yes.
if you will.
Yeah.
They now occupy the property that the Overlook once sat on.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like it's tainted.
Tainted love.
Which, I mean, it could kind of be like a Pet Cemetery type,
It's sour land.
It's just, it's just bad. It's bad land.
I have to say too, like when I read the book when it came out, I had such an emotional reaction to it. I kind of always say that like the last Stephen King book I read is always like my favorite Stephen King book I read. I had like hugely emotional. I remember I cried a few times when I was reading it, and I like cried majorly when it was over. And part of like why I was so sad was just because I didn't like want to like leave these characters and stuff. And I think that the True Knot in the book is way creepier.
They are.
Because what they are...
They're monsters.
Like, they're monsters. and if you've ever been on a road trip or camping, they are those RV people. Like the RVers that are everywhere, and they're kind of retiree looking, kind of touristy looking. They're kind of almost like a joke. You just see them at so many rest stops, and you just kind of laugh them off. But they're actually this incredibly sinister, insidious, evil, psychic vampire cult. Yeah. And in the movie, I liked the way they did them as kind of a little bit more, they're a little more schmexy, sexy,
right. Their eyes glow a little bit when they're taking steam.
They all look very bohemian, and I like that, but they're not as scary as in the book, because for me.
In the book, their jaws unhinge.
Scary.
And they have like one single like yellow-brown tooth or tusk.
Gross.
Yeah, I mean they are
Gross.
Sorry, I'll cover it.
Figurative and literal monsters,
Yeah.
that prey on these kids. And in the novel, there's a lot more of them. There's 40.
Yes.
Like over 40. And
in their group.
In their group, and that's a low number for them.
Yeah, they're like kind of like you can tell the steam is kind of running out.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas sorry, I don't know why I'm pointing at the book, but
Yeah.
in the movie, there's once they add Snakebite Andy, there's 9 of them
Can you open this?
total. Is it a twist off?
Yeah,
or?
and it hurts me. Oh, see, look at your manly fingers.
No, you loosened it.
I will pour you some of this if you finish your tea.
Okay.
This is a bubbly,
Thank
dry,
you.
botanical, bubbly cucumber beverage.
So Caleb, we saw the movie together, right? First, we did a screening, yeah. I remember I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I knew from the very beginning, because we had talked about this, was the actual Dr. Sleep portion, which is Danny Torrance having the ability to talk to, with the cat in the was it a what's the home he was in?
He's in a
hospice?
It's a hospice.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's a hospice
He helps
thing.
people pass over.
Pass on. Like, like that to me, something that was probably a much bigger thing than the movie had time to talk about.
Yeah.
And I could like watch a whole movie just about that.
Well, and
I
that's
thought it was so interesting.
part of like the really emotional stuff in the book too.
Right.
Is like somebody doing that, and he's like really good at it, and it provides a lot of comfort, but it takes a toll on him. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really remember it really taking a toll on him. He knows he's good at it. And he's just basically telling them, because they all kind of say the same thing. I'm scared. I'm not afraid of heaven or hell. They all kind of say, like, I feel like I've lived a good life. I'm just scared. What if I wake up after this and there's nothing?
Right.
And he just tells them, like, you're just going to sleep. And I know that there's something after, so, just go to sleep and you're not going to feel any more pain. And I felt that was really beautiful. I know. Like this, I felt a little wrung out. This is the second time I've read the book. I did feel a little wrung out. The minute, or the moment in the novel where he goes and asks for help with his alcoholic problem, saying like, I need help. I got super, super emotional.
Oh, God, yeah.
And at the end, it ends with his 15-year birthday, what they call their birthday in Alcoholic Anonymous, and he finally tells the story about stealing the woman, because he's been holding on to this story for a long time. It's like one of his steps, it's his final step that he hasn't completed. He's told nobody, and he's like kind of sworn to himself that he's going to take it to the grave, but he finally tells his story, and everyone in the program, they're just kind of like,
They don't judge him.
Well, A, they don't judge, but B, they've heard so much worse.
Right.
This thing that he's been holding on to that has just tormented him, he's just kind of like,
I love his relationship with the girl.
Abra.
Abra, she's so cute. I liked her a lot in the movie, too. It's, there's a little part of you sometimes that you're like, grown-up relationship with child could get weird.
and they totally discuss that, too, where he's like, we shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You can't just come here.
There's rules. I think part of for me, I don't mean to be taking over your thing, but I'm just helping.
Help me out here, please.
That was emotional too about this is, you kind of wanted Danny to be, he grew up and he's so much better and his dad made this sacrifice and he's fine now. Danny's had a great life and it's like, that's not realistic. That's not real life, Right. And no, instead he's inherited, for lack of better words, this problem. Right. And it's ruined his life and he has complicated relationships and it's just kind of like, he's not a bad person or anything, but it just makes you like, dang, like you sometimes these kids that we have in books and in movies and they grow up and you don't know what happens to them, so you can kind of be like, I'm sure it was great after that, and it's like, not for Dan Torrance. It was not.
Well, and it definitely does, they do in the novel goes more into the sort of teacher-student, sort of like Danny, the young child Danny had with Dick Halloran in The Shining, and they talk that in this book they talk about, when the student is ready, a teacher will appear.
Right.
In the novel, he steps up pretty quick. Yeah. Like he's kind of like, okay, I'm going to help you.
I love that sometimes when they just jump right in there. Right. When the mentor character's like, no, we're not going to fuck around. I'm just helping.
Whereas in the movie, he needs some convincing.
Yeah.
And that convincing is from Dick. He comes back as a ghost because obviously in the Shining movie, he was killed by Jack Torrance.
Not in the book, though.
But not in the book, no.
And no offense to Scatman Crothers, which is a great name, and he's of course a really charming, charismatic part of the movie. But his character is way cooler in the book.
Yeah. And
he gets a lot more.
Yeah.
And then it's really cool, that he continues on.
Right. Right.
Although Scatman had the crazy paintings in his wall, if you recall.
He was his own interior decorator.
He was indeed.
Kubrick had to get it in there. Just had to.
All right, thanks, Caleb.
Yeah, like if you haven't, seen the movie, please go.
Read the book. Read The Shining.
But if you're not going to read it, if you're not, if you're not going to, at least go see the movie. I really do think it's worth it.
Yeah.
We all like it.
So. Mike Flanagan does really good stuff. I think he writes good films. He writes good characters.
Absolutely. And he's got great hand trauma. Because this also had hand trauma.
He loves hand trauma.
When Rose gets her hand slammed.
Oh, shit, so good.
It's like,
which just made me go back to Gerald's game with the
degloving.
Yep.
Speaking of Mike Flanagan, too, because he's got a new project It's going to be coming out soon.
I saw that.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about. But if you guys have not seen one of his early films, it might be his first film, Absentia. Mm-hmm. It is so good. And it's underwatched gem, Absentia.
Okay.
You can. It's on, I think, few of the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's got those two great on, and I hate to say it, but Netflix, those two, Haunting of Hill House and the
Bly Manor.
And
Oculus. I love Oculus. And Hush. Yeah.
Go see them all.
Yeah.
We should do a Mike Flanny appreciation hour.
Seriously.
Okay, we can do that, yeah. All right.
Maybe a rating, a ranking.
A ranking?
Yeah.
A ranking of the
This
Flanagan?
Flanny to this Flanny.
There you go.
What
Flanny
kind
to
of
Flanny.
flan do you like?
Well, you know, like we did with Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a weighted Flanny.
Yeah.
Oh, like a weighted
And we'll
blanket.
call it a weighted Flanny.
Oh my God. Producer Scott, I hope you're writing this down. Wherever you are.
We're going to forget. Okay.
So Neil read a book.
I finally
read.
read a book. And yes, it was a book I had read previously, but it had been many moons. Many moons. So, and it wasn't a very long book. It was a novella. But I read Cycle of the Werewolf.
And that doesn't matter. Reading is reading.
Reading is reading.
Reading
That's
is
right.
Hey, he read.
So this is my original from the 80s Cycle of the Werewolf. I kept it because I have a bunch of stuff I kept.
It's an epic cover.
It's a really great cover. It's got pictures. If you look through it, there's some illustrations. I'm sorry, they call them illustrations in a novella, not pictures. It has illustrations.
Pictures, Neil.
But the cool thing is, actually, the illustrations are here in the book are by Bernie Wrightson, who is the same awesome guy who did the Creepshow comic or graphic novel behind us on the wall as well. So Mr.
Talent.
King and Bernie worked well together. Not their first time. But this came out.
See it?
Yes, please. In 1983. The Cycle of the Werewolf. So the movie that came out
even born then.
for it is called Silver Bullet. And as you know, Silver Bullet, or at least I hope you know, Silver Bullet stars the wonderful and charming Corey Haim when he was so little.
Little Corey.
And the wonderful Gary Busey, pre-head injury, pre-motorcycle injury.
God, some of the,
But,
all of these pictures are so cool, but
so-
some of them are just like, they just haunt you, man.
Yeah, they're really good. So the book, unlike the two that have been presented already, Salem's Lot and Dr. Sleep, this story is much more simple. It's much follows a very kind of straight line. The characters kind of are what they are, which is basically it's a story of a werewolf and how he terrorizes a small town of Tarker's Mills month by month. Because obviously each month you have a full moon, and that's when the werewolf comes out.
Makes sense.
And it basically, it's I like how Stephen King kind of goes into it and basically just says from the beginning that that it's a small town and there's no reason for it other than it's just time. The cycle of the werewolf has begun. Like there's no big wiser wolf there. What happened? What bit him? What gypsy cursed him? It's just it was just this town. It was just time. Mm-hmm. And so there's a werewolf in it now, basically.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a story of basically you go through and you'll have it's episodic in that each month you have like the first month starts off with the railway worker, and you meet whatever his name is, I don't recall right now, but you meet this guy and he's going about doing his thing and he hears the noise and then and eventually you find his head somewhere on the railway. Arnie, thank you. And then the next month you meet it's the young lady who who's never been married and she so wants to find a lover and the werewolf comes to her and gives her what she wants before killing her. But it's just kind of these little episodic, almost little bits of story.
Kind of vignettes.
They're kind of vignettes. There you go. I guess that, but they get tied together because you do have the character of Marty, who is what Corey Haim plays in the movie, who is a wheelchair-bound lad. They may explain that. I don't recall off the top of my head now why, but. In the movie Silver Bullet, Marty is the main character. He is in it throughout the entire thing. In the book, he's actually comes in, he's used a little less. He's kind of more towards the summertime when he has the fireworks. Marty encounters the werewolf, lights a firework off right into its eye. And then,
cool.
Of course, no one believes him. They send Marty off to Vermont or something, I think it is, for the rest of the summer. He doesn't come back again until school starts, so you don't see him for a couple months. And it's not until Halloween that actually Marty is trick-or-treating and sees one of the residents of Tarker's Mills that has like a patch over the eye. He's like, oh my god, this guy must be the werewolf. So, I don't know, to spoil it, as we say, you find out through a lot of wonderful who done it or who is this and that it's the town priest. He is the werewolf. And again, it's the same thing. The priest has no idea why or what happened, other than it's just that God chose him to do it. So that's why he's okay doing it, because it must have been by design.
Right, because that's his belief system.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not okay. You can't just go around killing everybody in Tarker's Mills.
That's right.
I'm like holding it up like a book report for you because you're winged. You only have one.
Thank you, because I am
little
winged.
wing.
Yes.
You got in a fight with a rebob.
You should see the rebob show.
Oh my god! Oh my god! It's like, curse you,
It is.
He's got like both wings and
He's got the rabies now. So it's the movie Silver Bullet. I read this book when it, honestly, really early on after it came out. It came out in '83. I probably read it pretty close after there because, again, it's a pretty easy read. And I did read back when I was younger, especially Stephen King. And then I saw Silver Bullet as soon as that came out. And I gotta be honest, the movie, it's not. They're fairly similar. Like, I mean, it's a very it's a lineal path. Is that a good way to say it? You know, it's a pretty simple story. Again, it's just more Marty. The movie's actually narrated by his sister, who has a smaller part in the book, but she actually is kind of a big piece of the movie as well, which is actually kind of cool. I like how they kind of went around and tied her into it.
Yeah.
In the book, you have Uncle Al.
Good old Uncle Al.
Good old Uncle Al, who is the enabler of Marty and kind of helps him with his fireworks and builds him his cool little motor scooter. They change his name in the movie to Red.
For no apparent reason.
So, other than Stephen King likes character's name Red, maybe?
It's kind of like an old school white guy
nickname.
Like for Midwesterners and beyond, the East Way. Red.
But, Uncle Red in the movie provides Marty with the fireworks that he shoots off into the werewolf's eye. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know if you guys seen the movie. Have you guys watched it? Okay. It's been a long time or never?
I think I have.
But I just find it a real. Oh, you might have watched it for a Werewolf episode.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's a simple film, but I really like it. It's got some good elements of gore. There's a couple close-ups of the werewolf that take a while to get to that are actually pretty well done. But the movie starts off with a head trauma. Again, like kind of very similar to Ari, to Hereditary, where you got a head with ants on it. It's very similar to Hereditary. And there's a couple of good moments in it that I think are great. It's got wonderful cheesy '80s music. I think they got like too much pan flute even maybe in here. But I think Zamfir.
Too much.
I know that's possible.
Neil said, you know what? Take it down about 25%.
Yeah, I mean it's okay, Zamfir. You are the master of the pan flute, but
God knows.
Yeah. Actually, Jay Chataway did the music for this film. If you remember, he was the one that Bill had do Maniac.
This tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no going to a showdown, of course.
Bummer.
Which is whole different. Showdown. Yeah, so again, there's no reason in this movie for Lo to be a werewolf. It's just actually, I'm sorry, I take it back. In the book does say one thing, that he picked flowers at a cemetery that turned black before he got home with them, and he alludes that could be it that turned me to a werewolf as far as anything else. It could have been these weird flowers, but it doesn't ever say what. It's just one little thing. But
they don't expound upon it.
They don't go into it. They don't look for it. The movie does a really good job, I think, of going through that whole small town thing, like you're talking about, with the
terrors behind the doors. That's the real scary stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they do a good job with that. Again, you have all your crazy, the thing where you have like your men are the worst, your real evils kind of thing, because you have all your different, we're gonna go out there and find us a werewolf, or we're gonna find the guy who's doing this, and they end up just
kind of a mob,
mob kind of thing. In the book, the more the killings go on, the more that people start turning on each other. With like domestic violence goes up.
That's a great Stephen King theme as well. When the group cannibalizes.
Right, they start turning on each other. So that was one little piece that's not in the movie that is in the book. But again, if you haven't seen Silver Bullet, I do recommend it. I like it. It's a fun piece of '80s horror. Corey Haim again is so cute, riding his little motor scooter all over the place.
I know. I wanted that thing.
Yeah.
And we love vampires and werewolves. We love both of them.
Yeah.
We know that, Sandra, if you had your pick, you'd be a werewolf. You made that clear.
I would, because I just want to like run through the woods.
Me too, yes.
Which I like to do anyway. And howl at the moon. I feel like the eternity of the vampire gets old. That's what I've learned. And they end up really kind of not being happy
Okay.
in the long
It
run.
would depend on what kind of vampire I could be.
You want
I
to
mean,
be
are we talking Salem's Lot, or are we talking...
What We Do in the Shadows?
I was going to go Anne Rice, but...
Oh, also good. Yes, yes. It all comes back to What We Do in the Shadows. No, I could be an Anne Rice vampire, but they do develop a sense of ennui.
No, they do, but they call it going into the ground.
They do it.
They have a little,
Yeah.
100-year, 200-year nap.
You have to get used to people you love dying. It's a lot. Being a vampire, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I just think I probably would live it up a little bit more as a werewolf.
Okay.
Okay.
Living it up.
I don't want the fleas, so I'm going to take the vampire gate.
No, I mean, that's we would do a flea treatment.
I'll put some advantage on the back of your neck.
Yeah. Absolutely. Heart guard, and yeah, we'll take care of each
I
other.
want to fly, too. Vampires can fly, typically.
Some can.
You know, and
Well.
I would be the Jerry Dandridge of vampires. That's who I would be. I'd be.
You know what? Let's just call it what it is. You just want to be the
I know.
Jerry
Jerry
Dandridge.
Dandridge. I do.
You want Fright Night.
I want those clothes. I want it all. I want that house.
And he can eat apples, too.
And he can eat
Just
apples.
Have to,
That's
he
right.
doesn't have to just drink blood.
He like spits them out like.
I know, he's like,
He just like vomits a stream of blood afterwards.
Yeah.
I know this was for emotional effect, but...
It hurts, Jerry Dandridge.
Hey, are you guys interested in doing a little Stephen King haiku trivia?
I am.
Ooh, absolutely.
So you have the answer. So are we playing as a team?
We're a
Yep,
team.
you're a team.
Okay, team.
All right.
You're a team.
What's our team name?
Anne Rice's Vampires Rule. Stephen
Yay!
King suck. No.
Whoa.
Stephen King rules, just like in Monster Squad.
Okay. So I think everyone probably knows haikus for now, but just in case, we can let some of the folks in the world know that a haiku, of course, is a what, Sandra? I'm testing you.
It's a form of poetry from Japan,
Yep.
and it is in stanzas. And I always misremember it. It's 5-7-5.
Very good,
Yes,
very good.
and usually the last line is kind of traditionally. I think it's like it doesn't really directly correlate to the other two lines, but it kind of like takes it off in a new direction.
Okay.
I love haikus.
Yeah. And
Okay.
That's 5 syllables, 7 syllables.
Five
Five
syllables,
syllables.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to read the haikus. And these haikus are going to describe a Stephen King book.
Okay, and we're gonna guess it.
And you guys are going to
We're
guess
gonna get it
it
right.
from the haiku.
Okay.
Are you ready?
We are ready.
A poor white woman. Did she kill her employer? Do you really care?
Dolores Claiborne.
That is correct.
One of my favorites. Also, freaking fantastic movie adaptation as well.
Okay.
Starring the goddess Kathy Bates.
There are bloodsuckers. Set in Maine, like all his work. Not that well received.
It's got to be Salem's
That's
Lot.
got to be
right?
Salem's Lot.
That is Salem's Lot.
Yeah, 'cause that's the one I read.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Based on Bradbury. Getting what you want for free, but pay with your soul.
Needful things.
Painful things. Okay. Another writer. Opposite of happiness. What more do you need?
Ooh.
Is that...
Another writer.
Opposite of happiness.
Is
Which
that
would
the
be
twin
sad.
one? The,
Twin one.
It's one of your favorites, Sandra. I'll give you a hint.
Jesus, I feel guilty.
You said Timothy Hutton.
Not yet. Nope.
Okay, so not that one.
You just mentioned her earlier in a couple of movies earlier.
Oh. I did?
It's another writer.
Another right.
Not Stephen
Oh.
King, but another writer.
Anne Rice.
Nope.
I'm confused.
Opposite of what's the opposite of happiness?
Sadness.
Yep. Keep going. Keep going with that.
Sadness. Melancholy.
Yep. It's an M word. Keep going.
Morose.
Keep going.
Um,
How about Misery?
Misery. Oh, another writer, because it's Paul Sheldon.
Paul Sheldon, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I think, okay.
I know, it throws you off. Okay.
We were in our heads too much.
Let it go. Loosen up.
Yeah.
Shake it off. Shake it off.
Blah, blah.
Fla.
Okay.
Fla.
Here's an easy one to bring you back.
Okay.
Bring us back.
This car comes alive. What more is there to say? It's a bit evil.
Christine.
Christine. Okay, if you guys can't get this one, even Michael can get this one. Red rum, red rum, red.
Shining.
Rum, red, rum, red, rum, red, rum. Red rum, red, rum. Yeah?
That is a great one. Yeah, The Shining.
Best haiku ever. Shining.
Shining. This guy touches things, catches a glimpse of future. Averagely named.
Oh,
The Dead Zone.
there you go.
Very good. That's like averagely named. That's funny. Telekinesis. This troubled girl has got it.
Yep.
Covered in pig's blood.
Carrie.
Oh, Carrie.
Yeah.
Carrie.
You gotta, it was a tricky.
I know. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Stephen King, a lot of his characters shine, for
Yeah, they
lack
got
of a
something
better
going on.
word.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mother Abigail.
Oh.
Good versus evil again.
The Stand.
Well, there's like some plague. The Stand.
2020 and 2021?
Yes. Okay. This guy has two halves. One of them is fairly light. The other one's dark.
The Dark House.
Dark half, yeah.
That's what I was thinking of when he said another writer.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I couldn't think of the name.
well,
so
then there's a few books that
and
are
then I
about
was
writers
stuck on
too.
that, so-
And for some reason, I was
Yeah.
thinking of Secret Window and
Not that I'm
1408
making
and-
excuses by
No,
any means.
And it's sad because we adore Misery.
Right.
So I think that's
I
why it
know.
burns.
I know.
Yeah.
That hurt a little
That really
bit.
hurt.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo tries to escape Mr. Gray, hiding in his mind.
Dreamcatcher.
Very
Yeah.
good,
Oh,
Kayla.
very good.
Ooby,
Yes.
ooby, ooh.
Yeah. Not one of my favorites, and an
Yeah.
absolutely deplorable movie.
The movie
Not a good
sucks.
movie at all.
The book, I just
The book was all right.
It didn't grab me. The book didn't grab me. I read it when it came out. Yeah.
The movie was a huge letdown considering the director. That was a
God, that movie.
bummer. Okay.
I'm like angry now.
Woman chained to bed.
Gerald's Game.
Don't be playing sex games, kids. No fun for this guy.
Gerald's Game.
Yeah, let me finish it at least.
I'm sorry. We're excited. Should we
By
let
the
him
way,
finish the poem?
Bruce Greenwood played Gerald
Yeah.
in Gerald's Game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also played Dr. John in
Dr.
Dr.
John.
Dr. Sleep?
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. John is in gonna be in a right place. Gonna
No,
be in the
the
right
wrong time.
Not
No,
that Dr.
there's
John.
different Dr. John.
Rest in peace. Not with us anymore.
I know, it's sad. Okay, can you smell circus? The turtle can't save you now. Down here we all float.
Yet.
Yet.
Okay, last one.
Maturin, the turtle that carries the world.
Hey, Georgie.
You guys ready?
Yes.
No.
Seems like he can't spell. Danger of living near road. Sometimes they come back.
No.
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Sematary.
Sometimes dead is better.
That's
He
it.
can't spell. Oh,
Very
because they
good.
spell it wrong.
can't spell
Yeah.
cemetery,
That's
yeah.
right.
Hey.
Pretty good.
job,
I'm
Dan.
a little
mad about
hurt.
the mystery.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I feel like Annie Wilkes isn't going to talk to us anymore.
Seriously.
Pretty pissed off. Well, that was our Stephen King spectacular birthday blowout.
And I'm sure he's very grateful that we did this episode for him.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
expect
He needs all the, help he can get.
Well, I think-
Yeah,
expect our-
his career never took off.
Getting the word out.
No.
our phone's ringing soon. He'll be there. He's calling.
Can I give a little teaser of what is to come?
Well, yeah. I mean, what's happening? Because
What are we doing now?
We're doing a hat thing. Rose the hat, get out here. So for the month of October, we are going to attempt to, as a little treat, a little trick or treat, do weekly episodes instead of our current schedule, which is like every second and fourth Friday. It'll be like every Friday, how it was for a while there. We're going to try to go back to that
for October.
for October, as a little treat, I mean, I think that at least the plan, but like, don't sue us if we don't do it. So one thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little activity, a little game, how we like to do, but sometimes it'll be kind of a nice thing, and sometimes it'll be kind of a not nice thing that we have to experience. But we are going to do a movie that we will draw weekly. So we've each contributed one film to this Cult Show bucket hat, which you can get on our website.
cultshow.com/store.
And we're going to pull this movie, and this is what we're all going to watch. This is our homework. This is what we're going to watch next week. Should we let Neil do it because he has this wing?
Yeah.
Okay. Neil was hurt, so he gets to pick.
Broken wing. Take Neil's broken wing.
And learn to fly again.
Oh shit! I just threw his.
Tell
hands.
that rhubarb to sing. Yay!
Night of the Creeps.
Yay! Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps, which I've seen.
You have.
I've never seen
watched
it
it.
before.
And now I get to talk
I
about
watched it
it.
with Neil.
Night of the Creeps. That's exciting. That's a fun,
Yes.
fun film. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to also have, like Sandra said, a little special treat after we pick and have to do whatever it says, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So whatever that might be.
And it'll be exciting.
Yes. All right. Well, we don't have credit music to roll.
No, so just should we sing it?
Yeah, Michael, start singing, will you? We'll be sure to edit this and put some credit over it. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much for hanging with us.
Thank you. Happy
tuning in.
birthday, Uncle Stevie, belated.
And if you haven't liked this, gently caress it.
That's right.
Gently caress the like button.
And on Apple, do the Apple one too for our podcast.
Yeah. Be nice to everyone's left shoulders this weekend.
Yeah. And maybe put down below your favorite Stephen King book and or your favorite Stephen King movie or your favorite adaptation. Share with us.
Yeah. We'd love to know.
Word. All right, you guys, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Thank you, friends.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.